Hey everyone! If you've played Rollercoaster Tycoon, at some point you have most likely built an information kiosk. The information kiosk is great for scamming guests out of their money when it is raining, allowing you to charge ridiculous amounts of money for umbrellas. I know you've tried this. However, the information kiosk also sells another item, which is the park map, which sadly sells for much less money. Most real parks actually hand them out for free, but they are most likely included in the park entrance fee. The park map is one of those things which everyone knows exists and supposedly helps the guests to find their way, but not many people really understand how they work in Rollercoaster Tycoon. In this video, I will be going through parts of the OpenRCT2 code to show what the park map actually does. Now, the first thing the park map does is that it increases the chance that a guest will pick out a ride to go to. As a guest is wandering around, every few seconds there's a chance the guest will decide a ride to go on. I'm not going to go over the exact numbers for this chance in this video because the code is quite complicated, but the chance a guest decides to head towards a ride increases by almost 4 times when they have a map. This means that guests who have a park map will usually head towards rides much sooner than guests who don't carry a map, which is great if you want your ride queues to be filled. Now, here is something even more cool. A park map also changes the rides that a guest will consider when they pick out a ride to go on. Guests will generally prefer to pick out the rides that have the highest excitement. When guests don't have a park map, they will only consider rides in a certain area around them. I believe it's around 10 tiles. Guests will also consider tall rides, which is pretty realistic as they can be seen from all around the park. When I found out about this, I thought this was a really neat little detail. When guests have a park map, however, they will consider all rides in the park that they haven't ridden yet. Now, this last bit of code may not work exactly as intended in the original Rollercoaster Tycoon 2, as I saw a comment in the OpenRCT2 code that the game actually checked if the guest has a stuffed toy instead of a park map. But in OpenRCT2 this has been fixed. Now, the next thing that the park map does is that it increases the number of junctions that guests can look ahead when pathfinding. When guests try to find a destination, their pathfinding algorithm will scan the paths ahead of them a certain amount of junctions. If their destination is not within the scanned junctions, they will just head in the general direction of the destination. In parks where the paths have many junctions and where the path layout is not very straightforward, this can definitely become an issue for the guests, leading them to walk around in circles. When guests don't have a park map, they can scan ahead 5 junctions. When they do have a park map, they can look ahead 7 junctions. This may not sound like a big difference, but it greatly increases the path area guests can consider when trying to find whatever they are heading to. For comparison, staff members in Rollercoaster Tycoon like mechanics can look ahead 8 junctions when pathfinding to a ride they want to inspect. Guests who are lost and trying to find a park exit also get a small boost to their scan range, as they will be able to look ahead 8 junctions. In this case, park maps are no longer relevant. And finally, here's just a little detail that doesn't really affect the gameplay much, but is still interesting to know. When guests are wandering around and they arrive at a junction and they have a park map, there's a possibility of around 2.5% they will take out their map if there are multiple directions to choose from. However, if they are heading for a ride or the park exit, this chance increases to around 14%. It's just one of those fun little details you never think about, but they add so much character to the game. Also, when a guest buys a park map, they are 10% more likely to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So, you may be wondering by now, is it worth selling park maps to the guests? In my opinion, it's always worth selling park maps to guests, and the larger and more complicated your park layout is, the more your guests will benefit from it. Alright, that was it for my little explanation video. If you've learned something today, be sure to gently tap that like button, and I'll see you again in the next video. See you later.